Welcome back to the channel, guys. I can't believe the reaction the Twizy gets when you drive it through a town full of people. It's just almost, you almost feel embarrassed because it's like everybody's looking at you. I've had some crazy cars in my time, but nothing draws a crowd like this one. I don't know why there's so many people about, because it's meant to be a lockdown, but I suppose it's just a town. People want to go out for a walk and stuff, but there are little food places open, which is, I don't know, it's kind of drawing people in, so I don't know if that's right or not really. But anyway, I've just come out to get a few bits from the shop, like essentials, so I thought I'd bring the Twizy out. So, as you can see, we're on charge at the moment, got 26%, not a huge amount. It's going in, it's only got 6 miles range. And if we look up here, I've actually plugged it into one of the very few places that's actually got like a 3-pin plug socket on the wall next to a proper Type 2 charging point. I expect as time goes on, 3-pin plugs in a car park will probably actually be a thing of the past, but you know, there are a few of them about, which is quite useful if you haven't got a Type 2 adapter for the Twizy, which I have. One of these bad boys, which is basically like a Type 2 plug, and you converts it to like a 3-pin master plug socket, so waterproof and everything else. And that of course allows me to charge the Twizy practically anywhere. I've also got a Polar subscription, so a Polar Charge Master I think it is now, which you can sign up for, and it's about £6 a month, and that allows you to use loads of charge points, especially around here in Hertfordshire and Essex, kind of that area, where there's loads of charge points that are operated by Charge Master. I think it's BP Charge Master. So some of you guys would have seen this before. It's called a Powerbox. It plugs into the OBD2 socket inside this glove box here, and basically increases the power output of the Twizy's motor, and allows you to do lots of other cool things like set variable regen amounts, you know, so you can fine tune how much regen braking you want. Also gives you this lovely readout here which gives you a state of charge. Actually, when you have a state of charge meter like this, it makes you even more paranoid about how much battery you got left, because when you're kind of just working with this kind of battery gauge on here, you know, you're seeing 1 bar go down, I don't know, like every few miles or something like that. So that gives you, you know, that makes you more, that's more confidence inspiring basically. But this box is really good. You can effectively just go right into all the parameters, and so you can see here we've got the amps. Normally that would show a minus figure if you're accelerating away or driving. You'll see the current going out of the battery. At the moment it's showing a positive amount. Normally this has a charge screen actually. I don't know why that's come on, but it has like a screen to show that the system is charging. But at the moment I'm just seeing this amp meter here, which just basically just gives you the current. So it's currently charging at 32 amps. Now that's 32 amps at 48 volts. So the Twizy has a 48 to 52 volt battery, so it's basically a 14 cell lithium ion battery. It's under the seat right there, so it's a pretty well balanced little car. All the weight is basically right at the bottom in the middle. So what's also really interesting about this Powerbox is you can actually see lots of information about the batteries on board. So this is a 12 volt battery here, showing 14.937 volts, which is actually charging at the moment. I'll come back to that in a minute. If we scroll through to the next page of information, let's go to next, which is B. You actually controlled it by one of these little key fobs. So right now you can see each cell is about 3.83 volts, something like that. And if you go to the next page, you should be able to, right, it takes a little while. So this is communicating with the BMS on board the battery, which is the battery management system. So it's giving you all the information from the battery over the CAN bus of the car, which is really incredible. When I first found out about this car and the fact that you could actually add one of these Powerbox devices to it, it was one of the main reasons I actually bought the Twizy a few years ago. So yeah, really cool stuff. So yeah, come back to the 12 volt battery thing I was talking about. So like all electric cars, they also have a lead acid battery in there, like a normal car battery. Don't ask me why. It's just probably just, you know, an easy way of putting 12 volts into a car and making it a serviceable part, something like that. So the Twizy's built-in charger, which is actually under my feet, also has a 12 volt charger for the lead acid battery built in. And what's really clever about this system is if the 12 volt battery goes flat, the car doesn't start. So that's not very clever. That's like a normal car. So you would have to jump start it, you know, like a regular car, which is kind of crazy. But what's really interesting is if you ever have a situation where the 12 volt battery runs out, maybe you just leave the car for, you know, a couple of weeks or something and it discharges itself. Shouldn't do, but maybe it might. Then what you can actually do is just plug the car into the plug socket of the wall. Just plug it into the mains like you would normally, like I'm doing now, and it will actually just start to charge that 12 volt battery up. and then all of a sudden the car comes to life. So it's actually a pretty clever system. I don't think, from what I've been talking about, that some of the other bigger electric cars actually even allow you to do that. Right, another thing I want to mention is this. I would not be able to survive without my heated bum pad right there. In these sort of cold conditions, it's about 1 degree here in the UK at the moment, so I've left the link in the description for any other Twizy owners that need a really good bum heater. This one goes blimmin' hot. The other thing that's really useful in the cold is this heater. It's just literally like a 150 watt heater, runs off 12 volts. It will happily get powered by the 12 volt charger, which is built into the charger I talked about earlier. So you can rig this up, use some fat wires, make sure it's got enough current capability. Basically this just warms up the footwell a little bit. I've got a bit of insulation in here as well, bit of foam cut around there to stop any cold air coming in, but it still does get pretty chilly. So with that heater, that really noticeably makes your feet a lot warmer. Right, let's go for a little drive. Right guys, so I've come somewhere a little bit quieter because that road noise by that multi-story where the charge point was is just too much. So let's talk about the exterior mods I've done on the Twizy. So first things first, the wheels. I've gone for Team Dynamics Motorsport wheels, gloss black. These actually weigh in about the same as the original Twizy wheels, believe it or not, even though they are a mighty 185 wide, and you've got a 60 profile. This does affect the range a little bit on here, but yeah, it's worth it for the handling, I'd say. So in order to fit these, you need to actually have 20mm spacers. I think these might even be 25mm spacers actually. These are from a company called Elia Tuning, which do spacers for this. They also changed the bolt pattern, which is really neat. So you can actually run 4 stud, whereas the normal Twizy wheels have 3. So this is that's a good mod to do. And also it brings out the back wheels, you know, just that little bit wider, so it gives it slightly wider track, which makes it look a little bit more aggressive. Right, next up, windows. You need windows in the UK. There's no way around it. You also need doors. So if your Twizy didn't come with doors when you bought it, it's going to be a nightmare to add them. Or I think it's, I don't know, I think there's different fittings here on the different models. So you have to order a Twizy with doors, and then you'll be able to use these windows. These are OEM windows. These are from Korea. Renault in Korea actually sells these, but we can actually supply these through cloudstay.com, our website. I'll put the link below in the description. Really, really good, super clear. These are the tinted version. There's also a clear version if you really want to, you know, make it super visible, but they are so clear to see out. And also you get a really nice window here, so you can actually use the parking ticket machines and stuff like that. So around the front, I've upgraded the headlights to LED headlights. These are actually halo. You can't really see the halo side lights on here at the moment. If I do that, you probably will. So there you go. You can actually see it's got a halo side light, which makes it look really modern, a bit like the Honda E sort of type look about it. The camera doesn't really do it justice, but these are super good. The LED headlight part of it is actually really, really good, and you've got a main beam in there as well. I haven't put it through an MOT with these yet. We'll see what happens. Also, I really wanted to upgrade these as well to sort of clear units, but that is a bit of a mission. That's a bumper off job. These weren't too straightforward to actually mount, bit tricky. There is someone that actually supplies like a kind of ring that you stick the lights to with super glue, and then you can actually use the OEM mount behind there, but I didn't do that. I'd done it another way in the end because the mounts actually snapped, or the spacer things that they supplied snapped, so I ended up having to sort of go a different way with it. But I think you'll agree, it does look pretty smart. I've also changed the number plate at the front to a little square one. It's like a bike style one, because the other one was just flappy and horrible and it just looked rubbish. The other thing I have done is I've stuck an LED bulb in the reverse light, which makes it a hell of a lot brighter when you're reversing. So there's always visibility issues with this little thing, but you know, that makes it better. I did actually try to put LED lights in this as well, in this part of the cluster, but you get a warning, like a CAN warning. So if anyone knows how to solve that, I believe there's like maybe like a resistor or something that you can use to do that. But anyway, right, phone's ringing. Who needs a Lambo, guys? Or any other electric vehicle at the moment, I think, as well. I feel like all the electric cars at the moment just look so boring. I mean, even the Tesla, like, you're starting to see Model 3s just everywhere, like, because they're basically just a lease car, the new lease car. I think they're going to end up like the new Mondeo. Great, they do 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds, unless you buy the performance model, which is going to get you a real performance car, but it's a hell of a lot of money for something that just looks so plain. I don't want to hate on Tesla because they are still pretty amazing cars, but I feel like we do need some smaller EVs out there, especially some smaller, faster ones as well, like hot hatches and kind of more sports car kind of size cars, you know what I mean? Anyway, this little thing's still got the fun factor for me. I'm going to leave this one here, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'm going to leave you with a little bit of Twizy driving down the dual carriageway. Probably too busy looking in the mirror.